Hello, nerds. It has been a while. Been a little bit busy, but I'm excited to see you all again. Hopefully, some of you in the live stream and most of you on replay, and some of you through the secret summaries that you can get emailed to you at nerdsforhumanity.substack.com. I actually have a presentation that I'm giving as part of the California Ranked Choice Voting Coalition, because in my county of Santa Clara County, California, the county is considering adopting ranked choice voting for county elections, which is how sometimes innovation starts at that grassroots level. You know, I'm kind of frustrated by Trump already. It's only been freaking a couple of weeks. So I'm going to be directing a lot of my energy towards improving humanity in my local community. And then we can talk about federal stuff in a year and hopefully presidential stuff maybe in 2 or 3 years. If you want, at the end of this live stream, I can give you my thoughts on the president's proposal to occupy Gaza and turn it into the Riviera of the Middle East, the Gaza Largo. This is what we wanted, right? This is what the country voted for. Don't blame me, man. I was supporting Dean Phillips in January and Harris in November. Neither of them were perfect, but golly, they sure beat this guy. Okay, we're not going to get into presidential politics, right? I'm happy to talk about it at the very end. I can even react to his press conference with Netanyahu, but for the purposes of this stream, we're going to focus on, I'm kind of going to practice my presentation. So I have slides, and I'm going to give it to you as if you guys were residents of Santa Clara County. And if you are, please, I'm going to have a QR code where you can voice your support and contact your, county representative to encourage them to follow through with the plan to use ranked choice voting at the county level. All right, let's get into it, guys. By the way, let me know in the comments where you're joining from. I see there's already a few people on the live stream, so it's been a while. Let me know where you're from, and I'll try and give you a shout out at one of our next breaks. Okay, let's see here. And of course, I'm going to be giving shout outs to all of our channel members. All right, here we go. How can we make this a little bit bigger? Okay, that probably will work. And then we'll say view. Don't want that. Don't want that. Okay, that'll work. Here we go. Can you guys see this? I think you can. All right. So thanks everybody for coming to this dress rehearsal for my actual presentation on Thursday at a local event. So we'll start off with a pop quiz. Which do you think is better, A or B? You think it's better if more voters decide elections or fewer voters decide elections? Not a trick question. Hopefully, most of us think that more voters should decide. And it turns out that in Santa Clara County, primary voters are the ones that really call the shots. In fact, 3/4 of county races, they don't even get decided at the November ballot. They don't even appear, because if you win a majority of the primary, you just win. And so only 37% of registered voters actually voted in the primary, but they control 3/4 of the outcome. So this is a realistic outcome of what happens when primaries have so much power. You end up having a small number of people have an outsized amount of impact. And you'll find that this isn't necessarily representative. If you've gone to the polls during a primary, not the general election, you may notice that turnout of voters of color is much lower, and all voters turnout is lower in the primary than the general. Independents, younger people, renters are all underrepresented in the primary. So one of the big things we're trying to do here is encourage more decisions to be made at the general election. Now, you can't do that the way it's currently set up because the primaries select the top two and then they go to the general, but we don't know who the top two are, so we can't have that in the general. But with ranked choice voting, you just basically collapse it all into one day. And we'll get into some more specifics in a second. So if you want to eliminate this issue of low turnout and unrepresentative elections, you can instead go for better turnout, more representative elections, and having the winner selected by the majority of voters. So ranked choice voting is a way to do that. It allows you to just give your order of preference. You can rank them first, second, third. You don't have to rank them all, although you can. Many people do. Most people do. And this way, if your first choice has no shot of winning after all the ballots come in, your vote isn't thrown away. You don't have to worry about it being a spoiler, because then your vote can be reallocated as you instruct to your second choice. So many of the people listening to this live stream, you might be in the Yang gang. So a lot of people might have liked Yang, but we're like, well, I don't think he has a shot, so I'm going to go with someone else instead. And then you end up with Biden. We know what happens when you do that. But if there were ranked choice voting, you could rank Yang number one, and then you could rank Buttigieg number two, or Harris 3, or whatever you wanted. And then this way, if your favorite candidates don't get enough votes from everyone else, you can reallocate them. But there are such situations where everybody thinks someone's a long shot and ranks them number one, and suddenly they win the whole darn thing. Or they end up collecting a lot of votes from other people's long shot ballots who didn't make it, and then they get reallocated to your guy or gal. So that's a little bit of an upgrade on why ranked choice voting is so awesome, because you can kind of like vote how you really feel. Like, you don't have to play a game of strategic voting and being like, well, I really like this candidate, but I'm going to vote for this other one because I don't think my favorite candidate has a shot. So we can do a quick demonstration here. If you use this QR code, or you can go to bit.ly/rcvfood, and I'll put that in the live chat as well, bit.ly/rcvfood. Now, you guys may not be familiar with these restaurants. There's basically going to be 5 restaurants, but they're different types of cuisine. So I'm going to go to the ballot and show you what it looks like. But if you want, you can also vote with me. RCV food. Okay. So here's the ballot. And you can see there's the halal guys, smoking pig, which is not halal, Din Tai Fung, Mizu Sushi, and Victoria Taqueria. So let's say I am a big fan of barbecue, but I know a lot of people may not like barbecue. They want something more healthy. So maybe we can compromise on Din Tai Fung. If you don't want the dumplings, then I'll go for sushi. And then maybe I'll go for the halal guys. I think they have, what are they known for? Falafel? So maybe that would be my fourth choice. And then I just had Mexican before, so it's going to be my fifth choice. Just had it the other day. It was really good, but I'm not a guy that likes the same cuisine 2 days in a row. And Mexican's pretty robust if you get the carne asada burrito like I did. Wet, as they say. Okay. So then you can submit it. But so you can see here, it's like not rocket science. You just rank it, right? And then you say submit. And then now, if any of you have been playing along, and I know now there's 21 people in the live stream. So welcome, nerds. Welcome. Tell me in the chat where you're joining from. Let's see what the results look like, preliminary results. There was, oh, we need more voters, dude. There's only been, I think I'm the only voter, or maybe there's two of us. So one of us voted for smoking pig and one of us voted for halal guys. In that scenario, they both basically get 50%, and then there's a kind of a coin flip. But maybe we'll come back to this in a few slides, so you guys have time. I'll give you the slide again if you want to participate. So come on back in and vote so we can have more than two people picking what restaurant we're going to go to. All right. So I'll come back to that in a bit in case others of you want to vote. But it's bit.ly/RCV ranked choice voting food, or you can scan the QR code. All right, let's move on. So there's other benefits to RCV beyond, what we've talked about. So we talked about eliminating the spoiler effect, like you actually get to vote for who you want, which relates to number 3. Some of the longer shot candidates are often people from underrepresented groups, and it empowers them to run and win. There are many cases where in an election, if two people from, let's say 2 women of color are in the same district or running for the same seat, people may say, hey, one of you should run, but the other one shouldn't. Otherwise, you're going to split the vote. You don't have that issue anymore. With a ranked choice voting ballot, people can vote for both of them. They just put them in their order of actual preference. And then whoever gets the least will then have their votes reallocated to the second choice of that person's voters. So number 3 is really important if you want to encourage more competition, more kind of outsider candidates. We talked about the spoiler effect. It also encourages more positive issue-focused campaigns. And the main reason is that if you are a real jerk and you alienate everybody and you insult everybody and you think, oh, I'm going to win because my 15% or 20% of the vote is going to is going to show up for me and I don't care about the other 80%, what'll happen is no one's going to rank you second. And so the last place person will get knocked out. Their votes will be reallocated to someone other than you. And pretty soon you're going to look up and you're like, you're going to lose because you're not going to get to 50%. Because in order to win an RCV election, you have to have 50% of the vote. And so the kind of incentives are entirely different now, right? Because all of a sudden, you kind of have to speak to a bigger audience than just the people that love you, and you can't just poop on everyone else. So what you'll see then is people are a little bit more respectful. They try to find a little more common ground. And isn't that why so many of us are frustrated by politics? You know, we all say it's too polarized. Well, it's kind of polarized because the current system, the plurality voting system, whoever gets the most votes in the first round wins, even if they only get 21% in a 5-person race. That system rewards extreme polarizing behavior, and it does not penalize it at all. In fact, the current system, if you try and appeal to most people and everybody else like really throws the red meat out there, you probably won't do that well. You know, maybe if you live in a super purple, voting area, then you might do okay. But if you're in a really diverse area that, isn't on a knife's edge, then you really don't get rewarded for appealing to a lot of constituencies. It's also the fastest growing nonpartisan voting reform in the US. 13 million people have voted in RCV elections. And that number will probably needs to be updated because this is before this last election. It's used in 7 cities in California, the entire states of Maine and Alaska, and 40 other cities. It's also used in Australia and Ireland. And there was a poll in December of 23, and 64% of likely voters in Santa Clara County want ranked choice voting. There's a lot of people that support it. If you're in Santa Clara County, you may recognize some of these people. There's also League of Women Voters. There's a California Democratic Party, Santa Clara Democratic Party, Fair Vote, Californians for Electoral Reform, San Francisco Chronicle. There's a lot of support for ranked choice voting. Because I think we all feel like politics today is just it's too divided. It's too much rewarding, like the extreme kind of like angertainment side of us. And ranked choice voting kind of says, all right, well, if you're the kind of candidate where you peak at like 21, 25% support, you shouldn't win. We'd rather have someone that can actually be on at least 50% of the voters' ballots, even if it takes kind of reallocation of and ranked choice voting to get there. Okay, so next, then there's like a Q&A section. So if you have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I can try and answer them. Again, I'm a volunteer for the Ranked Choice Voting Coalition in California. But let me know what you think. I know there's 29 of you. While I'm waiting for questions, and then also lastly, there's still time to vote because I do think the simulation is pretty fun. And it's not a real decision, so don't feel bad if you're like, oh, well, we're not going to dinner. It's like, yeah, that's fine. Just rank your favorite food. You don't even need to know these restaurants. But go check that out. And while you're doing that, I'll put it in the chat again. bit.ly/RCV food. Okay. All right. Now, let's give a shout out to our Nerds for Humanity channel members. By the way, I am hoping the audio is pretty good as I cough into it. I'm hoping the audio is pretty good because I recently upgraded the microphone, and I was able to do that because of channel member funding. So all the money from our channel members just goes back into trying to enhance the production values of this live stream and this channel, as well as syndicating the information to Substack and the audio podcasts, Facebook and other places. And then just also it helps me know that you all value this content and I should keep going, even though there isn't a presidential election for 4 years. Who are these people that keep this channel rolling? Well, the highest level of support comes from our Nerds for Humanity cabinet. And if you want to support this channel, you can click the join link on our YouTube channel. And Soldier One and Parth are the biggest supporters of this channel. So thank you, Soldier One and Parth. And then underneath the cabinet is the Congress. And that is Kristen Slevin, Bike, and Zig PC. So thank you, Kristen, Bike, and Zig PC. And then at the city level, we have the city council members: Gene, David, DK, Jekalego, Mr. History, Mona, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana. What the hell's going on with this? Hold on. Okay. Gene, David, DK, Jekyll. What the fudge? God, I'm going to go bottoms up, maybe? All right. We'll try it again. Hopefully this works. You city council members are getting a lot of airtime. We'll try again. Maybe I'll just use this little scrolly. Gene, David, DK, Jekalego, Mr. History, Mona, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Vaughn. Wow, this thing keeps jumping up. Daniel, Mickey, Unkiyu, Jackson. This is so terrible. Look at this. Vaughn, what the hell? All right. I'm going to have to do this. You know I love my members. I will find a way to give you guys a shout out. Okay, we got Jeremy, Jackson, Unkiyu, Mickey, Daniel. God, YouTube studio, fix this freaking bug. It's terrible. I don't know what the hell's going on. All right. And then let's see if we can do it this way. All right. I think I can do it now, guys. You see how much I love you guys? All right, here we go. Gene, David, DK, Jekalego, Mr. History, Mona, Dean, Galessa, Jay Perrin, Dana, Jason, Vaughn, Daniel, Mickey, Unkiyu, Jackson, Jeremy. Those are the city council members. And then we got our registered nerds here, who I will scroll through and you can all be seen. Oops. Wow. Come on, guys. You guys are all awesome. All right. So that is a thank you to our channel members. And now, since I promised we would talk momentarily, just for a moment, about Trump. Okay, I'm going to give you 5 things that have really disappointed me about Trump. Number one is this just throwing out these ideas of the U.S. Occupying Gaza. A lot of his supporters were against forever wars, and a lot of his supporters were against building infrastructure in other countries. And his idea of turning Gaza into a Trump resort area. Come on, man. Are you serious? So that's crazy. Number two, a sitting president issuing a cryptocurrency and minting a poopy coin as a way to just basically grift. I think he's raised hundreds of millions, maybe billions of dollars that way, which is just like, imagine if Obama or Hillary did that. People would be crazy. They would just go be livid. And yet when Trump does it, we're just like dazed and confused. But I notice nominating Tulsi Gabbard, who couldn't answer like direct questions about whether Edward Snowden outing a number of foreign assets. I'm not talking about the eavesdropping stuff. Like, that's totally not okay. But people forget that the guy released 1 million documents and gave it to Russia. Like, that is not patriotic. I know a lot of people think Russia is not a threat to America, but we disagree on that. He also ran to China, which is not a very popular country in America right now. So, but somehow, like, she's fine because Trump nominated her, I guess. Then RFK Jr., who couldn't answer a very simple question about how would you reform Medicare and Medicaid? Like, you're trying to be the Secretary of Health and Human Services. You probably should understand what Medicare and Medicaid are and have ideas on how you want to improve it. And it can't just be banning vaccines or casting aspersions saying like, well, I'll go where the science takes me. And then it's like, okay, well, we all know what he's saying. And he doesn't seem to me to be qualified for the role. Then you got Kash Patel, who was like the record producer for the Jan 6 Choir album. And then like claims he doesn't know what any of the people on Jan 6 did. And he's probably going to fire like FBI agents who are involved in investigating crimes, who actually were able to get convictions in courts with the rules of evidence, but somehow like, oh, well, if you were investigating Jan 6, you should be fired. Not to mention these FBI agents, they don't volunteer. They don't get to pick the cases that they're on. They're assigned them. So, you know, this is just kind of nuts. By the way, folks, since you all did not want to vote on my Santa Clara restaurant thing, I do have another one that you can vote on that I think you guys will find way more interesting, because for those of you who aren't in Santa Clara, which is, who do you want to be the nominee for the 2028 POTUS primary on the Democratic side? So I will put a link in the chat if you guys want to vote on that. And I'll show you the results. Okay, election results. Okay. So here's what it looks like. Okay, let's refresh. So round one, you have Buttigieg, then Newsom gets eliminated, then Harris and Whitmer get eliminated, Then Shapiro gets eliminated. Most of his go to Wes Moore. AOC gets eliminated. Most of hers go to Wes Moore, but Buttigieg still wins by hair. What's interesting here is you see how these kind of lower tier candidates, when they don't meet the threshold, their people get reallocated as the purple. And that's kind of RCV working as intended. So, yeah. By the way, I would not mind at all if Buttigieg were the Democratic nominee. I don't know if the country's ready for a gay president, but we're ready for the one we have now, who's kind of out there. Not in that way, but in other ways. So, at any rate, hopefully this was useful to you. Thanks for giving me a dress rehearsal for my big presentation on Thursday. And if you are in Santa Clara County, let me show you another one, which is, I'm going to put it up here. Here's a QR code, and that will take you to a page where you can basically like sign a petition, and it'll notify the Santa Clara County commissioners that, hey, another person is voicing their support for ranked choice voting. So if you're watching this and you're in the Mid-Peninsula or South Bay and you're in Santa Clara County and you want to support RCV, or you know a friend who is, please give them this QR code or the link on the bottom there, calrcv.org, and they can voice their support. All right, folks. Hope you all have a great rest of your day. If you can't become a member, the next best thing you can do is like, share, and comment below. So help me out. I need some goodbye music. So 3 takeaways for you. Number 1, ranked choice voting is way superior to our current polarization voting, also known as plurality voting. And we're not going to get it at the federal level overnight, but if we get it in a bunch of cities and counties, like, it'll move up. That's how we're going to have to do this. It's going to be a long game. Number 2, thank you to all the channel members who support this content. And let me know if the audio of my voice sounds good, because I have a freaking supposedly upgraded microphone. And number 3 is check out the results of that. What do you think of the results of the Buttigieg primary? I think that's pretty fun. But we still have a long way to go. I was kind of surprised that Wes Moore did so well. I didn't think anybody even knew who Wes Moore was. I mean, he's in 3rd, and then Shapiro I think Shapiro takes him to 2nd, ahead of AOC. And then AOC's people get split, but not enough to overcome Buttigieg. So pretty fun stuff. All right. See you later, nerds. Bye, nerds.